The following documents were obtained from a homeowner in a planned community. The HOA has denied all allegations. The basement has been sealed. Viewer discretion is advised. David Chen bought the house in Oakwood Estates because of the basement. Full finished basement, separate entrance, perfect for his home theater setup. The listing said cozy retreat. The inspector said solid foundation. The HOA said nothing. At first, the first letter arrived 3 weeks after move-in. Standard HOA envelope, cream-colored paper, that overly formal font they all use. Dear resident, welcome to Oakwood Estates. We hope you're enjoying your new home. This letter is to inform you of a minor covenant violation regarding your basement. Section 14.3 of the Oakwood Estates CC&Rs states that all basement spaces must be registered with the HOA Architectural Committee. Our records indicate your basement is not currently registered. Please schedule an inspection within 14 days. Failure to comply will result in fines. Sincerely, Oakwood Estates HOA Board. David laughed it off. Another HOA power trip. He'd dealt with these before. Keep your lawn mowed. Don't paint your door an unapproved color. Pay your dues on time. He called the number on the letter and scheduled the inspection for the following Saturday. The inspector arrived at 10 a.m. An older woman named Mrs. Gable. Gray suit, clipboard, the whole bureaucratic package. She spent 5 minutes in the basement, looked at the walls, the ceiling, the floor, made notes on her clipboard. Everything looks fine, she said. I'll file the paperwork. You should receive your compliance certificate in 10 business days. Great, David said. Thanks for coming out. Mrs. Gable paused at the basement door. One question, Mr. Chen. Have you noticed anything unusual down here? Unusual how? Temperature fluctuations, sounds, odors. David shook his head. It's a basement. It's always a little cold. Of course. Mrs. Gable smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. If you do notice anything, please contact us immediately. Some issues are easier to address early. She left. David forgot about it, until the second letter arrived. The second letter came 2 weeks later. Same envelope. Different tone. Dear Mr. Chen, following your recent inspection, the Oakwood Estates Architectural Committee has identified several concerns regarding your basement. Our records indicate that your basement depth exceeds the original construction plans by approximately 8 feet. This discrepancy was not disclosed during your purchase. Additionally, our thermal imaging survey, conducted during the inspection, revealed temperature variations inconsistent with standard basement construction. Specifically, a zone in your northeast corner registers 34 degrees Fahrenheit colder than surrounding areas. We require access to conduct a structural survey. Please confirm your availability for a follow-up inspection. This matter requires immediate attention. Sincerely, Oakwood Estates HOA Board P.S. We strongly recommend you do not use the basement until this matter is resolved. David read the letter 3 times. 8 feet deeper than the plans? That was impossible. He'd seen the original blueprints during closing. The basement was standard depth, and that corner, the northeast corner, that's where he'd set up his TV. He'd watched movies down there for 3 weeks. It was cold, sure, but not 34 degrees colder. He called Mrs. Gable, got her voicemail, left a message asking for clarification. She called back at 11 p.m. David was asleep. The ringtone woke him. Mr. Chen, Mrs. Gable said. No greeting, no apology for the late hour. You received our letter. Yes, but I don't understand. The basement is standard depth. I have the blueprints. The blueprints are wrong. Mrs. Gable's voice was flat, monotone. They've always been wrong. The basement in your house, it's older than the house, Mr. Chen, much older. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to make sense. It needs to be addressed. A pause. Have you measured the basement yourself, Mr. Chen? No. Why would I measure it? Tonight. Start at the stairs. Walk to the northeast corner, count your steps, then call me back. The line went dead. David should have gone back to sleep, should have ignored the call, dealt with it in the morning. He grabbed a tape measure and went to the basement. The stairs were normal. 13 steps, standard height. The main area was normal, 24 feet by 30 feet, just like the blueprint said. But when he walked toward the northeast corner, toward his TV setup. The tape measure ran out, 35 feet. He needed more tape. He got a second tape measure, linked them together, kept walking. The basement kept going. David walked for what felt like minutes. The TV was behind him now, distant. The basement extended far beyond where the house ended, far beyond where any basement should be. He stopped when his flashlight started to dim, looked back. The stairs were a pinprick of light in the distance. He ran back, counted his steps. 847 steps from the TV to where he'd stopped. At 3 feet per step, that's 2,541 feet, nearly half a mile. His basement was half a mile deep. David didn't sleep that night, sat in his living room, lights on, staring at the basement door. At 6 a.m., he called a contractor, explained what he'd found. The contractor laughed, said it was impossible, said he'd come look that afternoon. The third letter arrived at 8 a.m., slipped under the front door. No postage, no return address, just David's name, written in handwriting that looked familiar but he couldn't place. David, we know you've been measuring. We know you know. The basement was here before Oakwood Estates, before the town, before the state, if we're being honest about dates. Your house was built on top of an entrance. Not the only entrance, but one of the more accessible ones. The previous owners knew. They maintained the covenant, kept the entrance closed, never went deeper than the TV room. They lived there for 30 years without incident. But you went deeper, David. You walked where you shouldn't have walked. You measured what you shouldn't have measured. You know now. And knowing changes things. The HOA exists for a reason, not to enforce lawn height or paint colors. Those are cover stories. We exist to manage the entrances, to keep them closed, to prevent exactly what you've done. You have two options. Option 1, sell the house. Immediately, we have buyers who understand the covenant, who will maintain the seal. You'll take a loss on the sale, but you'll be free. The knowledge will fade. You'll convince yourself it was a dream, a stress-induced hallucination. In 5 years, you won't remember any of this. Option 2, stay. Accept your role as caretaker. The basement requires maintenance, occasional offerings. The previous owners understood this. They managed for 30 years, but understand, if you stay, you can never leave. The basement knows you now. It has your measurements, your steps, your fear. You have 48 hours to decide. Do not go into the basement during this time. Do not look at the northeast corner. Do not listen to the sounds. The sounds are not for you. Sincerely, the board. David read the letter until his hands shook. Then he called Mrs. Gable. She answered on the first ring. You've made your decision? I haven't decided anything. I want answers. What is down there? What's in my basement? We don't know, Mrs. Gable said. No one knows. The entrance predates our records, predates the town's records. We only know that it opens and things come out and we need to keep it closed. Things? What things? The previous owners called them the residents. They live deep, deeper than you walked. They rarely come up, but when they do, Mrs. Gable paused. The northeast corner is the warmest point of contact. That's why it's so cold. Heat flows toward them. They absorb it. This is insane. Yes, Mrs. Gable agreed. It is, but it's also real, and you have 46 hours left to decide. What if I choose option 1? What if I sell? We'll handle the listing. Cash buyer, close in a week. You'll take a 40% loss, but you'll walk away. The knowledge will fade. Within a year, you'll remember this as a weird dream you had during a stressful move. And option 2? You stay. You maintain the seal. You listen for the sounds. If they change, if they get louder or closer, you call us. Immediately, day or night. We'll walk you through the maintenance procedures. What kind of maintenance? Mrs. Gable was quiet for a long time. The residents need to know they're remembered. That's what keeps them down there. The previous owners left offerings. Food, mostly, and other things. You'll learn. This is crazy. I'm calling the police. The police know. The mayor knows. Everyone who matters knows. That's why the HOA has the power it does. We're not managing lawn care, David. We're managing an entrance to something that shouldn't exist. David hung up, stared at the basement door. He could hear it now, the sounds. A low hum like machinery but organic. Rhythmic, breathing. Coming from the northeast corner, David chose option 1. Of course he did. He called Mrs. Gable back, told her to list the house, accepted the 40% loss, packed his bags, stayed in a hotel while the sale processed. The buyers were a couple in their 60s, retired, no kids, no pets. They paid cash, closed in 6 days, moved in immediately. David moved to another state, got an apartment on the 12th floor, no basement, solid concrete foundation. The building was 5 years old, no history, no covenants. For the first month, he slept with the lights on, jumped at shadows, flinched every time his phone rang. But Mrs. Gable was right. The knowledge faded. The memories became hazy, dreamlike. He started to doubt what he'd experienced. Maybe it was stress. Maybe the basement was normal and he'd had a breakdown. Maybe the letters were pranks. By month 6, David rarely thought about Oakwood Estates. By month 9, he'd almost convinced himself it never happened. Then he got the letter. Same cream-colored envelope, same formal font, delivered to his 12th-floor apartment with no postage, no return address. Dear Mr. Chen, we hope you're enjoying your new residence. This letter is to inform you of a minor covenant violation regarding your storage unit. Section 14.3 of the Redacted Condominium Association CC and Rs states that all storage spaces must be registered with the Architectural Committee. Our records indicate your unit, B147, is not currently registered. Please schedule an inspection within 14 days. We strongly recommend you do not access the storage unit until this matter is resolved. Sincerely, the board. David didn't call Mrs. Gable, didn't measure anything, didn't open the storage unit door. He packed a bag, drove to the airport, bought a ticket to the most distant city he could find. In the airport bathroom, he looked in the mirror. For a moment, just a moment, he saw Mrs. Gable behind him, smiling, holding a clipboard. You can't run from entrances, David, she said. They are everywhere. We've been building over them for centuries. David spun around. The bathroom was empty. He looked back at the mirror. His reflection smiled. But David wasn't smiling. We'll be in touch, his reflection said. We always are. David is still running. New city every month, new apartment, new job. He doesn't stay anywhere long enough to receive mail, but the letters find him, under his hotel room door, slipped into his car, tucked into his luggage when he's not looking, always the same message. Different violations, different sections, different spaces that need to be registered. Last week, he got a letter about his car trunk. The week before, about a closet in a friend's house where he'd stayed for 2 nights. The HOA isn't managing his basement anymore. They're managing him, and David is starting to understand that he was never the homeowner. He was the offering, homeownership, the American dream, a place of your own where you make the rules. But some places have rules older than your ownership, older than the country, older than the concept of property itself. And the HOAs that manage them, they're not enforcing covenants. They're maintaining seals. The Malignant monitor collects transmissions from the edges of normal experience. If you have a story, a recording, evidence of something that shouldn't exist, send it. We are always listening, even in your basement.